Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, dear students. I'm your teacher of English, Mrs. Fawzi Afzal. Class, today we'll discuss the topic natural disaster, a river in flood. Basically, it is in the exercise of your unit number 8. This is from your writing skills, D part. It is on your page number 100. And this is the topic about writing an essay about a natural disaster, and we'll discuss a river in flood in this respect. We'll discuss its causes, impacts, and the preventive measures, so that at the end you can write a detailed essay on this, and you may also be able to write any letter to editor about this topic. So after listening to this lecture or watching this video lecture, you should be able to know the causes, impacts, and preventive measures of flood, and you should be able to write an essay on a river in flood. So first, as the topic suggests, a natural disaster. So what is a natural disaster or a natural calamity? Natural disaster is the effect of a natural hazard, for example, which comes from nature: flood, tornadoes, hurricanes, volcanic eruptions, earthquake, or landsliding. These natural disasters or calamities can affect the environment and leads to financial, environmental, and even human losses. So what is a flood? First is introduction. Flood is great number of enough water to cause a body of water, whether it is a river or something else, any stream or a lake, to overflow its channel and submerge the surrounding areas or the entire suburbs. So flood can have huge social and economic costs and losses, but it can also be beneficial in some way, and that is creating the fertile soil, because it leaves a layer of substances like minerals, which can make a land fertile, and agricultural land fertile. So we'll discuss a river in flood in this video lecture. So what is a river in flood? A river in flood occurs when water level rises over the top of a river banks due to excessive rain from tropical systems, making landfall. So persistent or continuous thunderstorms over the same area for extended periods of time, combined with rainfall and snow melt or an ice jam, can be the causes of some of the causes of the river in flood. So this is a scene where there is a river in flood, and it has submerged an entire area, an entire village into the water, and it has basically disconnected this locality from the other localities, and it has completely isolated this place. This is another scene of river in flood, where a bridge is being damaged and it is being carried away by the entire tide of flood water. So first we'll discuss the causes of flood. Physical causes. Physical causes means natural causes. Intense precipitation, you know, it is rainfall, too much rainfall, or rainfall for the prolonged period of time, for so many days, and then snow melting or ice thaws, ice melting, then storm surges, landsliding, volcanic eruptions under the ground. Then there are some human causes. Changes in land use, for example, when we use land for making our houses and for the housing societies, and then we cut so much trees, then definitely it causes flood, because there are nothing to hold back the flow of the water. Like trees, you know that trees are responsible to hold the flow of the water. So when there is so much urbanization means creating more city areas by building houses, then definitely it causes flow of water. Then climate change means the melting of ice due to global warming. Then poor dam construction, there are the countries like ours, which is underdeveloped country, and which is underdeveloping, and we do not have enough dams to conserve our rainwater. Then poverty is also a major cause, because we do not have enough funds to make dams and to make the embankments on the rivers or the canals. So once again, see the causes. Climatological means nature of drainage basin, means that flow of water or the drainage of rainwater is not so properly managed in the areas. Then coastal influences means that there is not so much embankments on the coasts of the rivers. Then urbanization and definitely the deforestation. Basically, these are the two main causes of floods, which are caused by human activities. Urbanization and deforestation means that cutting off so much trees and without planting the new ones. Then first see physical causes in detail. You will see this slide in detail to write your essay. Intense rainfall, prolonged period of rainfall, then a sudden increase in temperature producing rapid snow melt due to global warming and due to pollution. Then what are the human causes of flooding? Human causes, the basically first one is deforestation, that we are not planting so much trees, and we are cutting more trees rather than planting new ones. Reduces interception and evapotranspiration. And then increase runoff. Decrease in channel capacity. The channel capacity means that the channelizing of or the drainage of the rainwater due to the sediment being carried into river channels. So this is the factor of deforestation. Then urbanization means that building of so much tall buildings and plazas and housing societies by cutting out the trees. The creation of highly impermeable surfaces. Impermeable means which cannot absorb water, such as roads, roofs and pavements. These things cannot absorb so much water, so the water flows intensely. Then smooth surfaces served by a dense network of drains, gutters and underground sewers, effectively increasing drainage density. So where there are not so much effective sewerage system or the drainage system in the city areas, then definitely it results into flood. Then urbanization, another cause. Natural river channels are often constricted means limited by bridge supports or riverside facilities, reducing their carrying capacity, so they cannot carry so much water. Then straightening river channels. River channels are straightened and lining them with concretes as part of building projects. When there are some building projects, then river channels are changed, which are their natural flow of water. So this lead to faster delivery of water downstream. So this is also a factor of urbanization, means the new way of construction and constructing the buildings and the high and the tall buildings, which limit the flow of water, and then it flows in some unnatural way that causes to destroy the buildings and other human lives and even animal lives. Then failure of hard engineering, such as dam burst, can produce catastrophic flooding. Dam burst, for example, failure of hard engineering means when you are making dams, then there should be very careful engineering. But if there is some kind of flaw, some kind of shortcoming in the construction of dams, and there is a kind of flaw in engineering, then it can produce a very catastrophic, means very destructive dam burst. Mean that a dam can be burst, like there is an example that it was burst in Seville, Spain in 1999. This is one of the example that how a dam burst and an entire area was under flood. Then land management techniques such as drainage systems, digging ditches or plowing up and down a slope will decrease lag time for water to reach the river channel. So this is also cause of a river in flood. Then there are some serious impacts of flooding. What are the impacts or what are the effects of flood? First is building and property washed away by water and mud. Then crops are ruined, agricultural land is ruined, and farmland saturated for months, and there cannot be so much agricultural activities and cultivation in those areas even for so many months. Then people and animals can also drown and can also be affected in this flowing water. This is also an impact. Transport can be interrupted. Transport is interrupted, and even some entire areas are just disconnected from the other parts of the cities. Airports can be closed, roads and railways submerged underwater. So these are very serious impacts where people suffer so much. Then sewage contaminate drinking water and causes diseases like cholera and typhoid. Then definitely the underground water, which is drinkable water, is also affected by the dirty flood water. And then this because this is also being submerged underground and it is absorbed in underground water, so it also affects our drinking water, which can result into different kinds of diseases like cholera and typhoid. Then you can see the impact of precipitation or rainwater. Then how the life can be affected. Even some of the vehicles are also drowned underwater, and all kind of traffic is jammed. All kind of traffic is not flowing, and the people are facing a lot of difficulties in their daily activities. So these are some of the scenes of river in flood. So what can be the possible preventive measures, or what can be the steps that can be taken in flood management? So we'll discuss them. You know that flood management cannot be floods cannot be absolutely controlled, but they can only be managed, because this is something a natural scenario. So we cannot control a natural scene, a natural scenario or a natural disaster, but we can make the effects, we can make the serious impacts less by having some planning or management. So management should be aimed at the protection and of people and property. So the first step towards this should be that our aims for management of flood should be to protect the lives and the property of people. Then reduction of flood risk. Then our aims for the flood management should be that at the first place we should try that there should not be flood in any area, and we could prevent it in the first place by building some embankments and dams. Then monitoring, research and forecasting and warning. So this is also very basic thing by which we can reduce the risks and we can reduce the adverse impacts of the floods. That there should be effective monitoring, effective research, that how these are causing destruction, and effective forecasting that there are heavy rains and people should move on to safer places, and warning system. This should be very effective. Then these are some of the other plannings or management that the government can do. Embankments and the construction of embankments, dams and reservoirs. Channel improvement means flowing of water should be improved. Then drainage should be improved, like sewerage system should be improved. Then diversion of flood rivers means it should have some channels. Then flood plain zoning. Flood preparedness means that government should have strategies that they are well prepared. They are prepared in advance. If there is a rainy weather ahead, they should prepare for that. Then there should be a very effective system of flood forecasting. If there is a forecast of flood, then we can make the risks very less. Then afforestation. Afforestation is a very important thing in this regard, and not only the government but the common people can play their part in this. So afforestation is the antonym of deforestation. So deforestation means cutting out the trees, and afforestation means planting new trees and taking care of the trees and making our area green, to take care of our green areas, to plant more and more trees. This is called afforestation, and this plays a very major part in this, because you know that trees hold the flow of water, and it makes the risk of flood less. So there should be public relief from the government side. So all these factors, or all these managements or plannings are from the government side, and there are very little that the common people can do. And this is that they should keep their drainage and sewerage systems very clear, and they should play their part in afforestation and in planting more and more trees. Then hard engineering is also from the government side, that embankments should be constructed, and there should be more dams and reservoirs to save and to storage the rainwater. So that why dams and reservoirs are very necessary, so that we can utilize our rainwater for our benefit, rather than it is being bringing so much catastrophe to us in the form of flood. So then this is also something regarding the hard engineering, means that construction of these drainage improvements, then diversion of flood river. Diversion means to make a very natural flow of the rainwater or the flood water of the river, which should be a very natural channel for the flood, so that it cannot affect the residential areas and residential colonies. Then now that we have discussed our causes and impacts, and some of the preventive measures to make the risk of flood less. This is an essay that you are going to write. First you will write the introduction, that there are many regions in our country that this is the introductory paragraph, that face the natural disaster of flood because of the overflowing of rivers. When it rains heavily or snow melts due to hot summer, the water level in stream channels rises. If the quantity of water is too great to flow in the rivers, it results in terrific floods. So last summer the lashing rains poured down in every part of the country. The snow on the peaks of hills melted in the sweltering heat. So what do you think? These are some of the causes. The water river rose to an extremely dangerous level. The government warned the people of the impending terrible flood. Impending means that is going to come. The people living in the surrounding of rivers were particularly asked to shift to safer places. Our village stood on the bank of the river Indus, so we were living on the verge of danger. Verge means on the border of the danger. Then many people left the village. They also carried away their household goods. Some drove away their animals even. But some people refused to leave the village. So some people, get very emotional. They do not leave their place. Some brave young men stayed there to help the people in the hour of need. I was one of them. We made a few shelters in the trees where we stored food in abundance. Then at midnight we heard the uproar of the huge waves. Then it is a sign of much more flood. The water had overflowed from the banks of the river. So it was flowing with terrible speed. The people were crying to help. The brave young men of our village rushed to help them. Many people were put in the shelters in trees, but the animals drowned in the flood. So what do you think? These are being discussed, the effects. These are the impacts of the floods. The crops were raised. So all of these are effects. The crops were raised means destroyed, or leveled. All the mud houses collapsed in the massive flow of water. So these are the effects or impacts of the flood. The straw-built huts were washed away by the giant waves. The whole area looked like a muddy sheet of water. In the morning, the rescue teams reached there. The people were shifted to safe places. There was a heavy loss of lives and property. So this is the concluding paragraph. Last one is the conclusion. These kinds of natural calamities can't be absolutely controlled, but can only be managed by effective planning and management by the government, as flood forecasting, constructing dams and water reservoirs. Reservoirs means the storage of waters, storehouses of waters, drainage improvement and afforestation. So we have suggested some preventive measures in this last concluding paragraph. So now at the first page you will make an essay outline, and here you will write just the main points. First you will write the introductory paragraph, then you will write the causes, and after that you will write the main points of the impacts. What are the impacts of the river in flood? And finally you will discuss the preventive measures or the solutions that can be taken in this regard, and at the end you will write the concluding paragraph. So all this essay outline should be only in points, and finally you will write an essay on a river in flood that we have discussed right now. So thank you very much and take care.